How Indonesia plans to become an economic superpower. What comes to your mind while thinking about economic superpower countries? USA, probably, and China, but never Indonesia. But that is going to change in a few years. So how does Indonesia really plan to become a superpower? Stay with us to find out. While it has substantial tangible hard power, as do other emerging powers, Indonesia has some features that distinguish it apart from the rest, notwithstanding the economic and political obstacles. Indonesia has demonstrated its increasing worldwide impact. It is sometimes alluded to as an unwilling or self-conscious early proponent. Intellectuals, policy experts, and business analysts frequently assert that Indonesia should join the BRICS. Some suggested renaming the group BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and Indonesia, while others included Indonesia in tuneful moniker groups like Civets, Mint, and N11. Indonesia, the world's fourth most populous country, is now the world's 16th largest economy, with a GDP of $878 billion. When a recent poll found that 80% of Indonesians believe their country has the potential to become a superpower, it was more an indication of growing national rhetoric in a country attempting to preserve its autonomy from the current global competition between the United States and China. Indonesia is a long way from becoming a superpower, if ever, and there is clearly a huge gap between the hopes and dreams of the vast majority of its people and the current reality of the country's true strengths. If a hegemon is defined primarily by its economic and military might, Indonesia lacks both. Even if it can pull off economically in the next decade or two, Indonesia is unlikely to become a military power in the foreseeable future. Instead, Indonesians should accept a great power status, a superpower without the threat of military might. The Soegeng Sajadi Syndicate survey captures a national sentiment that reveals Indonesia's long-held desire to play an active role in international diplomacy, a desire that dates back to 1945, when the country declared independence from Dutch colonialism. The Constitution's preamble, enacted on the eve of independence, mandates the government to take an active role in ensuring an international order based on freedom, peace, and social justice. Today's superpower ambitions are fueled by growing confidence as Indonesia has emerged as a middle power in the last decade, owing not only to the sheer size of its population and territory, but also to the growing strength of its economy and the benefit of a relatively functional democracy, which has ensured some degree of political stability. A large population was once thought to be a major liability for any country that kept its people poor. Not any longer. With 240 million people, Indonesia, like China and India, is demonstrating that its population provides a large pool of workers who contribute to the gross domestic product, while also ensuring a large domestic market to support its own economy. In global politics, size matters, and size backed up by a healthy economy and a credible democratic government matters even more. Indonesia literally rose from the ashes following the devastating Asian financial crisis of 1998 and the fall of the Suharto authoritarian regime. The successful transition has earned Indonesia the title of the world's third largest democracy, after India and the United States, as well as the largest democracy in a Muslim-majority country. While the country still faces many challenges in developing a truly democratic system, the 3 general elections held in the last 14 years gave the people real choices about who should lead the country. However, Indonesia has performed the best in economy. Indonesia was not as badly hit by the global economic downturn in 2008 to 2009 as most other countries, and has since achieved annual growth rates of more than 6%. Fitch and Moody's awarded Indonesia the long-coveted investment grade rating this year. It couldn't have come at a better time, with India on the verge of losing its investment grade this week. Some have proposed that Indonesia join the BRIC club of the world's large emerging countries. Indonesians' desire for their country to be a global player is rooted in the country's modern history. In 1955, Indonesia hosted the historic Asia-Africa Conference, which inspired many nations on both continents to fight for their freedom. A few years later, Indonesia, India, and Yugoslavia formed the non-aligned movement to provide nations with an alternative to joining the emerging East and West power blocs. Indonesia, newly independent and impoverished, made significant contributions to the establishment of a post-World War II international order based on freedom, peace, and social justice, as mandated by the Constitution.